Nicole here. Hi. Me and Marley are coming at you live from the Rainbow Lounge with my zebra pants and my beautiful hair, which, as you definitely know by now, is not my hair. Should we name this wig? I don't know. I love this wig. Oh, yeah, what can I say? I love it. I'm in love. Okay, Marley. So, Marley's in the background of this video. I hope he doesn't cut. Oh, look how cute he is. I just want to have this is gonna be a longer one. This is just for chilling. Yeah, I want to come chill with you, and so I am going to have a wine night with you, and let's have some fun and see what we can get up to, and what we can talk about and think about. Yay! Okay, so I'm gonna pour myself a glass. Feel free to pour yourself a glass. Right now, what am I drinking? I'm drinking Wayne Gretzky Riesling, which is really good. It's probably one of my favorites in terms of taste. I like the way it tastes. Oh, I'm blocking Marmar. You want to see Marley too, don't you? Ooh, Marmar. Marley, I love you. You a good boy. You a good boy. So, me and Marley have been out and about. He goes on lots of walks. We think he has cancer. We didn't get it biopsied because we know we're not going to do surgery on him. No, this isn't for you. Even Marley wants a drink. My goodness, Marley, no. You a baby. You're too young. You're too young to have some wine. I want to explain more properly what the art of being you is. I don't know if I love this lighting. Let me first try and fix the lighting, because I don't love this lighting. Oh. What did that do? Not much. Oh, baby boy! Oh, big boy. Look at Marmar. Look at my baby. He's my baby. I used to always Zoom with him when I was in midwifery when we were on online classes, and everyone loved Marley. Everyone loves Marley. Everyone. Okay, let's see if I can. Oh, what's that? That's like no change, but better for me, anyways. Okay, let's see. Let's make myself comfortable. Ooh, I did mention that it's important to always be comfortable. Okay, maybe we can play around with the ukulele. I don't know any songs. Okay, first things first. I want to explain what the art of being you is. The art of being you is an art project, where it's kind of like online diary, like a video diary meets a couple different characters that exist in my mind that I've created, like being an AI, being a single woman who is 29 who wants to have a baby but finds it difficult to find a suitable partner, and is trying to work through that, which obviously is relatable to my life to some extent, but this is it's not quite accurate. And I want to explain it now to you because this is a legacy project. Oh, Marley, so cute. This is a legacy project, so it will outlast me. These videos will be around long after I'm gone, and that sometimes scares me, but I do that on purpose. I make these videos on purpose mainly for that reason. I see that as a huge benefit because when I'm gone, I do want people to have access to me. And this is a bookmark, a timestamp, where I mentioned in my last video, time's not linear, and it's not really. Our brains perceive it to be linear, but the past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously at the same time. But us as humans in the 3D reality perceive it as happening linearly, which is useful for us. It's useful for us to perceive it that way so that we can have a human life that has a story arc. I think humans are entitled to a human life, and part of that is perceiving time in the way that it is, and the way that we perceive it. But time is happening simultaneously in the future, present, and past. So when I record these videos in my present right now, to me, especially with knowing that Marley has cancer and will be gone, who knows how long he has left to live? Who knows how long any of us have left to live? But it really shows and demonstrates in a very physical way that will outlast me that time isn't linear, and that through these videos I can live on forever, really. But regardless of whether I make these videos or not, I do live on forever, as we all do. This is my belief. You don't have to subscribe to my belief at all. That's actually not the point of these videos or this diary or the commentary, my own commentary on the world around me, which primarily is me making sense of the world around me for me. But it also is magic, because when I make these videos, I'm talking to the human collective. I'm not talking to any one of you. I know specifically a couple people who watch my videos. Shout out to you guys. Hi. Thank you for supporting me. I like your feedback. I really appreciate you guys. But yeah, when I'm making these videos, I'm really addressing the human collective. And so it's as if I'm putting my own part of my soul into this art, and the magic outlasts me. And I like that idea. I think that's interesting to explore. So that's really what I'm trying to explore, really what I'm trying to capture through different characters that are heavily what is it called when you are influenced, when one art influences another, and you're like, oh, what bands did you listen to when you were growing up? And it's like, well, I listened to this. It's heavily inspired. It's heavily inspired by my own life, but it still is an exaggeration. And I want to point that out there, because like I think about like my family watching these after I'm gone, if I have children, and I'm like, I want you to know that this is not 100% an accurate representation of who I am, but it is something that I find valuable to do and valuable to explore, and it is art. It's art. So that's the reference frame that I choose to look at this through. And me, as the one who's creating it, as the creator here, I'm allowed to do that. And how seriously anyone like, the thing about art is it really does have a life of its own. Once it's made, once it's created, once it's put out there, it really does sort of take on a life of its own. And so that kind of makes me nervous, because I'm like, what will my videos do? And even if they do nothing and nobody ever sees my channel, that's okay. And I actually noticed that I lost a couple subscribers. I wonder if it's because of what I said about abortions and guns. I don't know. But I have 26 subscribers now, I think. I had 29. So I lost a couple. I don't know what I said that made them not like it, but or if they just got bored and, clearing up space for themselves, that's okay too, to what they subscribe to. So it's free country, do what you want. Subscribe, unsubscribe, whatever. But it's not really necessarily about that. It's a standalone piece. Like these videos go in chronological order, and it's designed to follow me through my life. There might be crazier periods and there might be less crazier periods. It's no secret that I'm not super happy with my relationship to work. I think work ought to be meaningful, and I question that quite a bit. However, this is where I need to start taking a drink, because, oh, look, I'm already sleeping the other way. This is where I need to take a drink, because, I'm 29 years old, right? I was not super into astrology most of my life. Recently, I found that I've had somewhat of an increased interest in it, because some of it resonates, some of it came true, and if some of it, my TE mind, and to my future children, I talk about MBTI right now a lot because I want you to kind of understand it. It's a super leg up to understanding how your mind works, and to learning, how you learn. TE learns in opposites. So I go to one extreme and then I go to another extreme, and now I'm able to build a model that most often does accurately say something about the world around me. And in and of itself, MBTI is a model for how people perceive what's going on around them and how they make decisions based on the data that they're perceiving. So to my future children, like, look it up, figure out what personality type you are, and then you can figure out how you learn best, and it will make learning more efficient for you. And you'll discover that, hey, I'm somebody that it's energized by certain things, and you can just, it's helpful to have language. You know, of course, when you ask people, a lot of people, when you ask them, like, what's your personality type? And you're like all super nerdy about it, and they always kind of get like a little bit annoyed because they think that I'm going to apply all of the stereotypes to that personality and like think of you as being one thing or only capable of certain things. It's not true. I'm trying to build a model and see how I can actually use it. So like if you're, let's say you're an ENTJ, but you are not super business savvy. Okay, that's fine. Like there's a stereotype that ENTJs are going to always be really good at business. It might not be true, and I'm always looking for more data to include in my model to help me understand the world around me, not to necessarily predict what you're going to do, think, or say. It's more just data. Like I need external data to get it, to figure it out. Ooh. I'm also, by the way, children, to my future children, I'm also trying to have better posture. I'm always working on my posture. It's important. I think that I have a weak core, and like sitting like this, yeah, weak core, sit like this and you'll build strength in your core. So I'm trying to do that. Okay. The other really important message for everyone, not just my future children, with the art of being you is I have these like where like the deepest fears lie in me is what can get me to really have my fear center activated and give me anxiety is this idea that there's something missing in me, that I somehow am not taking care of myself or can't take care of myself because I'm missing something, like some integral part of being a human. And sometimes like that hits me. It like hits me just like being stabbed with a giant sword. It like hits me and all of a sudden I'll be like, oh no, like things aren't going right in my life. I'm not happy. This isn't how things should be. And then I start to think, what do I need to do to fix it, right? I think that the art of being you is really trying very, very hard to communicate the idea that actually that is its own reference frame, and I do it quite a bit to myself, but like rather than try and fix problems, like, hey, I am immature and I want to be more mature. Rather than like try and fix things, I think it's actually more valuable to just notice things. Like, hey, sometimes I act in ways or have behaviors that maybe can be considered immature. Immature is kind of not the greatest example because that's very vague. And how do we define that in like behaviors? But attitudes that I have that are immature, or beliefs that I have that are immature. So like that's where most of my fear centers around, is that like somehow I'm immature in some way and I'm missing out on something, or I'm not taking care of myself and then I'll get hurt. So like this is where like the majority of my own fear lies for myself. And I think that it's more beneficial for me, and maybe this message will resonate with you, but it's more beneficial to me to just notice things rather than try and alter them at all. And actually, especially with immaturity, I mean, these problems solve themselves over time. So why do I need to worry about it, I think that my ego, which seems to be the place where I live the most, is really just going along for the ride. I think my ego kind of tells me that it's making decisions and that it's in control. I think my subconscious is in control more than my ego in what I do and where I go. I really think that my subconscious is way more in control, which probably is a good thing. I don't know. My subconscious would be would be an SI Dom. Well, there's subconscious, unconscious, and superego. Some combination of those three things are more in control than my ego, but my ego thinks it's in control. Like, oh, I know I am doing this. I'm doing this because I want this, or I'm going to get this, or this is going to push me in this direction. No, 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 no. The subconscious is like, you're doing this for your own soul's development. And it may be rocky and rough at times. And then when things do get rocky and rough, my ego gets mad at itself. And my ego is like, Nicole, why the heck do we do this? Do we not know? Are we not mature enough? Do we not have self-esteem? Why do we do this? And I'm like thinking about it. And I'm like, why did I do that? I don't think the ego is in control. I think the ego is going along for the ride. The ego is going along for the ride. And that's kind of amazing to realize. It's like, okay, I think I'm gonna like walk around a little bit. I like to move. Also, I noticed that like human bodies are a work of art, and when they move, they are incredibly beautiful. Like, look at my face moving. It's so beautiful. Whereas like pictures don't capture that and you lose it. So I'm like, I want to move more in my videos as well. Yeah, but the 4 sides of the mind is part of the MBTI model. As you dive into it, you get into that. And how they interact with each other is fascinating. It's fascinating. The other part of the art of being you is trying to what was I going to say there? The other part of the art of being you is me trying to understand how the 4 sides of the mind interact with each other. And that's a psychology thing, while also trying to have a positive influence on other people, which I know is a little bit arrogant. Like, I don't really know what to do about all the problems in the world. I really don't. I have no idea. I'm an SE Dom. I don't think SE Dom, honestly, it rings true that I don't fully understand consequences to my actions. That rings true. And I think it's because I am so attached to the present moment. Ram Dass would be super proud of me. Let me show you my Ram Dass look. Okay, here it is. Ram Dass. Ram Dass would be super proud of me. Be here, be now. Be here, be now. It's about reminding yourself to be in the present moment. While SE Doms are very, very attached to the present moment, I don't know what it's like for you to perceive reality. Like, of course, anyone can choose to focus on it, but my natural inclination is to focus on the physical, tangible, outside 3D world. So, like, I would say that everything I see and feel has a cinematic feel to it. Oh no, I'm blocking Marmar again. My little baby. He's tired. He's a tired little boy. Yeah, so everything I perceive, and that comes at a cost because I'm inclined to focus on that. That makes me an SE Dom. So because I'm inclined to focus on that, it's a trade-off that I'm not focusing on the intuitive parts of like future thinking. So I don't always, and any Dom is actually, like, any Doms are ENFPs or ENTPs. They are probably the best at understanding what the available potentials are, whereas I'm the worst at it, which means that I tend to be more controlling of that. Like, I think any Doms are good. Like, I have a bit more tendency to alter my physical reality in the present moment to get immediate results. And it's because I don't think I have a handle on the future very well. Whereas I imagine NE Doms and possibly NI Doms would have a lot more handle on the future than SE Doms or SI Doms. SI Doms must have SI Doms have a handle on the past. And I think SE Doms have a handle on what's going on right now. And I think NI Doms have a handle on the future. And I think NE Doms have a handle on the present, but how as it relates to potentials and future. So there's, NI and SI, easier to tell the difference. NE and SE, I think, are harder to really understand. SE is more than just like, oh, like I'm good at sports, or I don't know, I'm a performer. But I get where that comes from, because performers are people, and sports, like if you're an athlete, it's because you probably are good at manipulating physical reality in the moment. So being able to catch a football that's flying towards you at a high speed while you're running in a certain direction to catch it, and then being able to catch it, right? Like that does make sense to me, that an SE Dom would be inherently more likely to, not that any other type can't do it, of course they can. Anyone can do anything, just like I can think about the future. I can understand where we're headed, even though I have any demon. So like, yeah, I don't really want to spend time explaining the models, but basically just know that these things work on a trade-off. There's a trade-off, there's a strong trade-off, because I'm so focused on the be here, be now, as Ram Dass would be proud of me. It's a trade-off. I'm not as focused on the future or the past. Not to say I can't reminisce, and I have, like, the heartbreak can get me to go to the past. I am definitely pessimistic about my past. My fears when it comes to the past are, have I done enough? Have I fit enough into my life? So when I think about my past, I have FOMO, even though I have done a lot of different things. I am very lucky that I have somehow like weaseled my way into doing a whole bunch of different cool stuff. So actually I think that my life is very rich. Like, I have lived a very rich life. I don't mean I'm rich. I mean that my life experiences have been rich. They've been fulfilled. They've been tangible. And I'm proud of the fact that I am like this grand manifester to myself, which is that I'm very responsible for the things that I put into my life. Whether it's this art project, this bizarre art project, or whether it's me going on flying lessons, or the beautiful things that I put into my room and my space, and the experiences that I give myself, such as midwifery. My midwifery experience, I'm really happy I put that into my life. I'm really, really happy I got to experience that. I wouldn't say it was always rainbow and sunshines over there. It was the most stressed I've ever been in my life. And I'm lucky that I didn't do it right away. Like, if I had done it when I was younger, I think that it would have been harder to recover from like a self-esteem perspective, where like it's like I haven't accomplished anything, so maybe I really am not worthy, or maybe I really don't have what it takes to be successful in the world of, I don't know, university and careers. But actually, like, I already had an engineering degree under my belt. So me almost getting expelled from midwifery school didn't harm my self-esteem. It harmed my relationship to work, which I'm still healing. That's the really good thing about us, is that we can heal. You know, sometimes it's a matter of choosing to heal, like actively choosing to heal. And I spent a long time looking at the lack in my life and feeling like I'm a 29-year-old woman who hates her job, is living with her parents, and has no prospects to buy a house because of what's happening politically. I mean, people aren't buying people in my generation, millennials, maybe the older millennials. I know some older millennials who have houses, but most of all my friends live with their parents, and they all have good professional jobs. They all went to university. They all, but they're all still living with their family at 30. So I did move out. When I got my engineering job, I wanted to move out, so I did get my own apartment. I mean, I would be a lot further along in paying off my student debt if I hadn't done that, but I wanted to. But then I came back when I started midwifery. So I'm a boomerang child, and what am I saying about this? Okay, so like sometimes I look at my life, like I spent a long time looking at my life with a perspective through a lens of lack. Like, I have no real way of finding a partner that's going to match me. I have no real way of buying a house. I have no real way of having my own children. What does the future have in store for me if I don't get these things? And like that, those attitudes are really looking at my life through a lens of lack. And I just came to a point where I'm like, you know what? This is the world that I live in, we all are co-creating this reality together. I know that's true. I believe that. And so it becomes an issue of like, what does the world owe me? I don't think the world owes me anything. I think I owe the world something. And so, like, I owe the world, like, the actual earth to take care of it. So, not littering, buying strategically, minimizing carbon footprint, uh, and and fostering community so that we all can live healthy, happy human lives. I think that that's all a responsibility that all of us have and share, just by the nature of being a human on this planet. Um, but I don't think the reverse is true. I don't think the universe owes me a baby. I don't think men owe me some beautiful romantic relationship. I want it. I want a beautiful romantic relationship. I do think it's possible. I do think people enjoy romantic, healthy relationships. But like, due to experiences and life events that happened to me, I think that it became difficult to foster healthy connections with men. And I can grieve that, and I have, and I do. But to look at my life through a lens of lack brings a lot of unhappiness, and it's something I'm choosing for myself. Like, when I choose to look at my life through that lens, it is me choosing to be unhappy as well with that. And I came to a point where I'm like, this no longer serves me. And I'm not sure if it ever did, but it doesn't serve me to look at it that way. And so I decided actively to look for reasons why I should be happy. And what am I actually grateful for? And this is the ultimate secret key. The ultimate secret key is that when you're in hell, there's a key. There's a key out of hell. And the key everybody has access to all the time. The key out of hell is to think and meditate on what you are truly grateful for, and then to allow yourself to feel it. So it's about celebrating the wins, celebrating yourself and the good things you truly, authentically, genuinely are grateful for. I am genuinely grateful for the presence of Marley in my life. He has taught me about unconditional love and how to take care of him and how to love myself. And it makes me emotional to think about. And I am truly, truly grateful for Marley. I think God sends these little creatures to us. You know, you go to a breeder, you pick out the dog, and then you form this relationship as the dog grows, like a baby, like a child. And it's such a gift. It is such a gift from the universe. Dogs. I'm clearly a dog person with my cat ears on. Cats, like any animals, they're gifts. They're awesome. Probably the best gift I've ever received from the universe. And I love Marley so much. I'm so grateful for him. So, you know, if you can ruminate on basically choosing to look at the life that you do have through the lens of looking for reasons why you should be happy and not finding fault with yourself and not finding fault with others and not looking at life through the lens of lack, is something that I think you have to consciously decide for yourself at some point. I do. And so I don't want to look at life through the lens of lack anymore. I'm guilty of doing it. It's not been an easy transition to, like, it hasn't been night and day for me where I'm like fully on board with looking at the life through this new lens that I'm trying on, but I do know it's the right direction, and I can consistently practice it. Because it's nobody's fault that I almost got expelled from midwifery, even though there was lack in that program, like lack of resources. I think that I don't see it as, you know, the problems that exist within midwifery, I think over time naturally will resolve themselves. Things will get better and improve. I do think things have a natural tendency towards improvement. Yeah, so I'm not worried about midwifery so much. Yeah. In terms of my love life, looking at that through a lens of lack, the rhetoric goes on like this. The rhetoric basically goes on something like looking at men and how they operate in the world and kind of seeing the dysfunction. And I've touched on this many times. I call it the conversation between men and women. People have different words for this. I think a lot of people in the spiritual communities call it the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And of course, we all have masculine and feminine energies within us. But I call it just like a conversation between men and women. And the conversation between men and women has not always been like, we've not always been on the same page. Often it seems like we're not on the same page and don't always understand ourselves well, like, or each other well enough to really get it. But looking at the healthy relationships that I do see between men and women, I now know that, like, okay, it is possible to have a healthy relationship with a man and vice versa. So I don't know, learning how to foster healthy communication. I think one thing that I'm starting to think about men is, or just like not men, but like in general, it's better when I'm direct with like how I feel, what I'm thinking, what I want, rather than trying to hint at it and hoping that people, because I'm worried that like people won't want to do something. Like if let's say I really wanted to go skydiving with you, like I think it's better to just say, hey, I really want to go skydiving with you. Do you want to go? And then trust that I'm not pressuring you, that you're not going to choose to do it just because I want to. But maybe that's a factor, because maybe you are an any inferior and you want to give people what they want. The any inferiors tend to want to give people what they want. And that's one thing that I really like about any users. Any users are like, how can I help you get what you want? And I'm just like, thank you. Like my NI is like, whoa, you're helping me get what I want? Whoa. It's very romantic. It can be. One romantic thing that happened between me. So I'm an NI inferior, and I was seeing this guy who I'm pretty sure was an NE inferior. And so we matched on like our dominant function and inferior functions matched, which is really nice. It works well. And so I had told him about this band, and he told me that they were playing in Toronto, and then he's like, well, maybe they're already have played. I'm not sure when the show was supposed to be. So of course, like, this was my all-time favorite band ever, Fever Ray. I love Fever Ray. Best band I've The Knife and Fever Ray, top. Yesayer, second choice. No offense to Yesayer, I mean, you're so amazing. Yesayer is also an incredible, incredible band. Unfortunately, they broke up, but I did get to see their last tour in Toronto, so I was like really happy to have seen it. I'm sorry that they broke up and aren't making music anymore together, but like, Yesayer was an awesome band and has put out awesome, awesome, awesome music. The Night, Fever Ray is just this techno dreamland. I love it. They created this techno dreamland that explores a ton of really interesting ideas. A lot of ideas about what it is to be a mother, what it is to be a woman, sexuality and where that comes into play, how other people perceive you. And it just is like a very interesting thing to look at. Especially in today's time when we seem to be so confused about gender and sex. And we seem to be confused and throughout history, people have really tried to control sex, like a lot. I guess it's because the consequences of sex is really like permanent, that you create a whole other being that now you have to be responsible for taking care of. So maybe that's why religion really tried to control sex. But I don't think, clearly you should be aware of the risks that are involved with it, the inherent risks of having sex. But like, there's basically two: STIs and getting pregnant. Those are also heartbreak. Let's be real about that. When you have sex, it's a very intimate process, and a lot of trust has to go into that. So it's incredibly sorry if you can hear background noise. I'm sorry. Like, hello? What? Hi, I'm making a video. Okay. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not direct. Like, I could have just said, please be quiet, but I don't want to tell them what to do. So instead, I'm just like, I am making a video, and I hope that you understand that means I want you to be quiet. That's kind of rude. I don't mean to be rude about it. Okay, I gotta stretch my legs. See, this is what I mean by like, I want to move around too, because I'm like, I gotta stretch my legs. Okay, so yeah, rhetoric of lack, like living in this world of lack is not a good perspective to look through, especially when it's not true. And I saw this video where this young person was talking about how money isn't real. And I mentioned in my previous video that money is real because it's based on resources and we trade resources. It's a middleman. Money is a middleman. And it's amazing how complicated something that is human made can get. Because it can get incredibly complicated, money and the movement of money. But money is real because it represents resources which are real and tangible. So like if you have X number of wheat that you produce a year from your wheat fields, you're going to sell that at a price. People use that to make bread. We need bread to eat, so money is a middleman for trading. That's what money is. It is real. Technically we don't really need a middleman. And I think I wonder if we could transition with that. Like what would happen if we could this is where an any dom would be, or just any user would be good to have around, because I want to know what would happen if we did transition out from money and go from a completely trades-based economy where we just trade things and what things are worth what you're willing to accept for them. So like if you really want a pair of shoes and let's say your next door neighbor is a shoemaker, maybe there's something that you have that person wants, and you can trade for it. But then that does kind of get complicated. So maybe money is a better solution because it helps to just like even it out. Because what if I don't have anything that the shoemaker wants? Like maybe the shoemaker is a vegan and I'm the butcher, I'm the local butcher. I'm not gonna be able to trade some meat for the shoes. I could then trade the meat for produce and then trade the produce for the shoes. See, it kind of gets complicated. And the economy gets real complicated real quick. It's kind of amazing how complicated it gets, like real quick. And when I said, everyone please stop spending money, I do mean it. I really mean it. But like in the terms of like, you can still spend money and probably should, but you should only probably invest in your local community as much as humanly possible. I think that'll benefit you. I think that'll benefit your community. I think that'll benefit the world at large. I don't think we have to keep supporting giant companies. I really don't. And it gets complicated because some companies, like the company I work for example, I don't think there's any local equivalents. But maybe there are, and I just don't know about it. But really strategically investing in your community and as much as possible is really what I want to say about please stop spending money. I don't think we have to continue giving power to people like Bezos or Musk. I think Elon Musk is really, I don't like Elon Musk because I think he's very good at painting a picture of him trying to save the planet. Grimes did make that TikTok, which is why I kind of have beef with Grimes and Elon Musk. I really don't believe he's doing the world good. I don't see how cars are good for the world, even cars that are run on electricity. Of course, it is better to move away from oil. Yes, that is true. But every single adult owning their own car and building cities that aren't walkable, so now everyone has to have a car, I don't think is a sustainable solution. And we really do, I think all of us would be on board. Like when you think about this, we need to live a sustainable life. And so I don't appreciate this idea that Elon Musk is somehow saving the world. I really don't think he is. I think he's the same as Bezos. I think he's similar to Trump in the extent that he will paint a projection of himself that benefits him, but is not actually true. I don't think Trump, when he was running for president, painted himself to his voters and supporters that he is a businessman that really is self-made and really is in it for the people so that everyone can become like him and be self-made millionaires or billionaires. That's not true. That wasn't really true. So I don't like that. I don't like that Musk used Grimes. Like, Grimes posted a TikTok about defending him and basically saying that he's saving the world. So why shouldn't she be with somebody? Number one, you can be with whoever you want, Grimes, but you don't have to justify it. But I don't want the lies. Don't pee on my leg and then tell me it's raining. Okay, you know where I got that from? Judge Judy. I got that from Judge Judy. Judge Judy says that. I like Judge Judy, actually. She's mean. I think she's an ESTJ. ESTJs are the type that scare me the most. Look at Marley looked over. See, he's even scared by ESTJ. He has to scratch his face. He's so scared. ESTJs scare me the most. She, I think, is an ESTJ. It's just like so like rah, but like they really tend to believe in like the tradition and values of society to an extent. Sometimes, like, I mean, they're not wrong, but sometimes an immature ESTJ will get so upset at people like basically SC doms and NE doms who are willing to explore outside of tradition to find solutions. I'm definitely one of those people who does well with chaos. I don't think ESTJs do well with chaos. I think a lot of police officers are ESTJs. I don't think they do well with chaos. And so when chaos inevitably erupts, they can't handle it. Whereas honestly, I thrive on chaoticness. Like okay, I'll give you an example. I was in a group chat. It was a spiritual group, a spirituality group. Basically there was a shaman, and they basically had this group chat to organize ayahuasca circles. And when you're playing around in communities that are like that, there are always going to be, like, in the spirituality communities where there's ayahuasca circles going on, there inevitably will be people who, how do I say this? I want to say it in the most correct, accurate way possible that is fair. I don't know how to express it, but there are always people who, well, number one, you're going to get the egotistical hippies. These are hippies who they like to show off their hippiness, and really it's like, I think it comes from a lack of identity. So they have a lack of identity, so they grab onto an identity and then they like to boast about it. So you will get a lot of those people in these circles for sure. But that's fine, because honestly, the medicine is there to help you, and it can help you in so many different ways. So no matter who shows up, like, you would never kick them out for what? For having a lack of identity? That's what they're struggling with. Just because it's obvious to you that they're struggling with it doesn't mean that it's your right to talk about it with them, or they're on their own journey, right? So you just kind of have to hold space for what they're going through, as everyone should kind of hold space for each other for whatever they're going through on a soul level. But anyways, there was this one person, I wouldn't call him an egotistical hippie. He was more like, actually kind of had some pretty distorted ideas about reality, and definitely seemed like his thoughts and feelings were not stable. I don't know if this person has borderline personality disorder, but it really did kind of seem like he was off. Anyway, so he started in the group chat, he started saying, in all caps, like, about how this January 1st of 2022, there's going to be, or was it last year? Did this happen last year or this year? I think it happened this year. Yeah, January of 2022, the whole world was going to change drastically. He started like spouting this stuff. He was like, you're all going to see that God is going to, like, I don't think he said God, but he's like basically that like these spirits were going to come down and manifest in the 3D, and that our whole world was just going to change completely. You see these ideas surface again and again, especially when things get dicey out there. I think it's comforting for some people to believe that these angels are going to come down and manifest and just fix all our problems for us, and then, I don't know what, punish the evildoers of the world, whatever. If you see other people as evildoers, which actually doesn't really exist, everyone's here just trying to help their soul develop, really, is what everyone's doing. So there's no real people, like Musk is not an evildoer, Bezos is not an evildoer. These are people that are on this earth having their own journey through it, just like you or me. And they're not really evil for doing that. An extreme example is Hitler. Hitler, of course, committed atrocities that were incredibly incredibly awful, that had impacts to so many different people's lives that were catastrophic. I'm not trying to defend his actions. What he did was wrong. His actions were evil. But I'm making the argument that even Hitler was a human soul that was going through his own journey. Yeah. Although Hitler is really funny to think about, because if you believe in past lives, then Hitler's soul is somewhere out there walking around, living his next life. And imagine the karma he would have incurred. Like, that's a lot. Like that is some people incur more karma than others. That's a lot of karma to incur. So if you look at it through that reference frame, that's kind of funny, because there's Hitler's soul walking around somewhere, dealing with the karma that he created during that time in Earth's existence. Marley, please don't eat leaves. I don't think it's good for you. Okay? Come here, be with me. Come here, baby boy. He's eating leaves. He's on a special diet, so we really don't let him eat anything. No treats, no. He's on a very special diet. And so, like, when I walk him, sometimes people leave food on the ground, and he always inevitably, like, he is, like, super into, like, sneaking the food. And I always say to him, I'm like, natural selection, Marley. Natural selection. Don't naturally select yourself out of this game. So I do think that I am guilty. This is a whole different topic now, sort of. But I do think I'm guilty of taking the world too seriously and my life too seriously. And I'm working on it. I don't want to take things too seriously. I want to have fun, I want to have a mimosa on the beach. I want to listen to great music. That's what I want. So yeah, I think that if you believe in past lives, it's funny to think about Hitler. Not trying to have disrespect for the people that his life impacted. I think that World War I and World War II impacted everyone on this planet, and I think a lot of people have emotional wounds that have been passed down through families originating from World War I and World War II and what took place during that time. I don't think Big God was happy with that type of stuff going on. I don't think that we should have nuclear weapons. I really don't think we should invest in arms races. I understand the point that, like, if you have a nuclear weapon and then I have a nuclear weapon, we're not going to throw it at each other because we would just destroy each other. But I understand that concept, but I think that it only takes one crazy person to throw a bomb anyways, like one crazy suicidal person. And so I think it's best just not to have it. And I think it would speak volumes on the world's platform, like the world stage. It would speak volumes if we just got rid of nuclear weapons. Like, even if Russia didn't get rid of their nuclear weapons, I think it would speak volumes to, like, the integrity of this country, of this place, if we just got rid of nuclear weapons altogether. And then, like, yeah, if North Korea, if Russia doesn't get rid of them, well, and then the problem is that how can you actually trust? Like, if the states were to say, yeah, we got rid of all of them, we do not have any nuclear weapons, we will not make any more nuclear weapons, there is some level of trust there that, like, they actually did that and they don't have a nuclear weapon. But I think it would speak volumes to the world if you just got rid of them. Like, I think we should do that. I want that. I really don't want nuclear weapons to exist at all. I don't see any value in it. Even if you had a gun and you shot me and I had a chance to shoot you back, I don't want to shoot you back. If I'm going to die anyways, I'd rather just die and let you get what you want. I guess that's like a defeat thing, but I think it's better to be defeated in that way than to let the whole world burn. Earth is a garden, and we know this, and this comes up a lot in stories, especially the story of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, it's like they live on a part of the planet that was a garden. But really, the whole Earth is a garden. The whole Earth is one big, big garden, and God really gave it to us to take care of. We're stewards of this earth, and that's the consequence and gift of having the intelligence that we do have. So I mentioned before about the 4 sacred elements. They are sacred. Earth, land can bring you a lot of healing. You know, if you're depressed, you can go out and just sit with nature for an hour and just watch it unfold quietly. Water, same thing. Going to water and being at the beach, being at a lake, sitting at a riverside. Water is sacred. The same thing with air and fire as well. Fire is also sacred. And I think we need balance between these elements, and I don't think they're balanced. I think fire is not well respected because we have nuclear weapons, which is really like an extent of fire. And I don't want to use fire to destroy. I don't want to use these sacred elements to destroy. I want to use them for healing. I don't want to use any of them for destruction. I want to use them for healing. I don't know how to do that. We're all co-creating the reality. It's not up to me to get rid of nuclear weapons. I don't know how I could what am I going to do? Somehow find out where they're stored and then create a mass spy. That could be a plot to a movie, to a thriller, a group of do-gooders who are just getting rid of nuclear weapons. I think that would be an awesome movie to watch. Yeah, do-gooders getting rid of nuclear weapons. That could be a plot. That could be a solid plot. So yeah, I really don't agree with nuclear weapons. I don't agree with arms races. I don't agree with war, which kind of leads me to another strong point I want to make. There's that poster, "Make Art, Not War." I really think that is something that we all individually should focus on. Making art. Literally sitting down and making art. Art can be healing too. And we are creators. We're gods, we are. And what is a god? A god is a creator. We're meant to create. And we create things all the time. But I don't want to create nuclear weapons. I don't want to create war. I don't want to create destruction. I want to create art. I want to create things that bring a smile to other people. I want to create things that bring hope and healing to the world. I don't want to create things that bring fear and destruction. Yeah, I really want to create things that bring hope and healing. Because look at Marley. Look how precious he is. Everyone can see how precious he is. Well, you're just as precious as him. Everybody's precious. Life is precious. Life in itself is sacred. So, yeah, I really want that to be our focus and our I want to live in a world where those values are really valued. I want to live in a world where the personal well-being of Marley, don't eat leaves. Please don't eat leaves. I don't think it's good for your belly. Marley, come here. I need to sweep up my floor. Marley is telling me to sweep up my floor. That's why he's communicating. He's like, I think it's time for you to sweep up these leaves, or else I'm going to eat them, is what he's saying. Yeah. Look at the baby. Look at the baby. I want to include him. I want to videotape him as much as possible because I really love him. I really love him so much. And now he can live forever with me in these videos too. Marley, you want to go downstairs? Is that what you're thinking? You're looking at the door, but you're enjoying this butt scratch. They like when their butt scratch right here. You want scratchies? Yeah, you like the massages? He likes being massaged. You like the massages? I like being massaged too. Massages are so good. Being touched from a human. We all need it. Of course we do. Yeah. So, I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to be healthy. I want everyone's needs to be met. I want us to all be able to meet as many of our needs as possible, our own needs. And I want us to have peace within ourselves, peace within the world. I really do. This isn't like a typical wine night where it was like, I don't know what to talk about. That's fun. I don't have any fun ideas in my mind right now. I do believe that things are going to improve, but I was scared before this war started, Ukraine and Russia. I was scared before, and now, it's like a huge step backwards. I see it as a huge step backwards in the story of humans. Working on my posture. Yeah, humans are not disposable. Nobody is disposable. And the moment that we lose a person, it is a deep sadness because it's a deep separation. It's a deep separation. The story of Adam and Eve, God left them. God was with them in some way. And then he told them because they ate from the tree of knowledge that he was going to leave them because they committed a sin. I don't think that's how it went down. I don't think that it was a punishment. I think that because they ate from the tree of knowledge, they no longer could have the same relationship with God because they knew information that changed the reality around them. I think that when you eat from the tree of knowledge, you understand that you are God. And I think that does inherently separate us from God. I don't think God wanted to be separated from Adam and Eve. I don't take that story literal, by the way. But I don't think God wanted to be separated from Adam and Eve. I don't think God is punishing us from like this original sin idea. Original sin really is the idea that trauma can be passed down from family and families. If your father abuses you, you abuse your children will abuse their children. That trauma was passed down in that example. So I think original sin is about trauma being passed down, not about Eve being a harlot woman who went her own way and deserves to be looked down upon as the first woman, the first mother. No, I think that inherently eating from the tree of knowledge is a metaphor for the separateness that exists between us and God, and we feel it. And I don't think it's permanent. I don't think we will always be separated in this way from God. When you do heavy psychedelics, you can have what's called an ego death, and you completely let go of you. And it's actually a very beautiful feeling because you start to realize just how connected you are to absolutely everything around you. And I mean, what I'm saying is true. We are 6 or 8 billion people, but we are also one. And when you have an ego death, you really can feel it in a different way. Then our egos help us to survive in this 3D world and to live out this human experience that we are doing. But this is just a stage play. It really is. And so that's why I'm like, don't take life too seriously, Nicole, because everything that's happening is a stage play. Not to say that I will overlook suffering. I don't want suffering. I don't want to co-create suffering with you. I don't want to create it on my own. I don't want suffering. I want peace. That's what I want to create. That's what I want to manifest for myself and for the world. That's what I hope to co-create with you. And that's the other thing that the Art of Being You does. Publicly talking about these ideas in and of itself is a way to co-create this with my viewer, because all the decisions that you have ever made in your life, if you're watching this video right now with me, yeah, like we together came here to co-create this, what's happening here while you're watching me on this video. So that's beautiful. I want to co-create peace, not violence, not violence. No, I don't want violence. I don't want suffering. I don't see it as necessary. I see it as oh, that's the other thing. Speaking about necessary, what is necessary? I want to also make a strong point here that when it comes to looking at yourself and evaluating your own self, I think it's important. And if you could repeat this to yourself, because this is definitely true, everything you think, everything you feel, everything you say, and everything you do is all a necessary part of your own awakening. And what I mean by awakening is your own journey, your own evolution, wherever that takes you. I'm not talking about awakening as though there's some end goal of like ultimate peace, like the gurus or the monks achieved ultimate fulfillment. No, I mean awakening in the sense of wherever you're going, wherever you end. Like, it's not about end, it's about continually unfolding. Like, all of us are continually unfolding as change is constant. So it's like a fractal that just keeps unfolding. And it connects to the idea, like my wish that I made long ago about getting to know myself in all ways. It's this continual unfolding of reality for yourself, both your inner world and the outer world. So everything you do, everything you feel, everything you say, and everything that you do, feel, say, and everything you think is all necessary towards your own unfolding of you and who you are. Hence, the art of being you. Okay. And when you look at Hitler, and again, I'm not excusing his actions at all and the pain and suffering, or Putin, a more topical example. Everything Putin does is all a necessary part of his own unfolding as well. I think that's hard to wrap our minds around. It really is, because I really am not on board with suffering. I don't want to co-create with him the suffering or the violence. It's not okay by me. But yes, the art of being you is about the continual unfolding of yourself. That's what it's about, Nicole. All right, this one's getting on, so peace out, Girl Scout. Also, to my fans who watch me regularly, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your feedback. Comment if you want, if you liked anything. I don't mind if you disagree with me. That's okay. Like I said, I might get things wrong, especially that, like, talking to the human collective via YouTube, it's not as though you can talk back to me in real time. So there's a lack of, speaking about lack, there's a disadvantage there that it's not like I get my thoughts and feelings reshaped in real time the way that I do when we have a one-to-one conversation. Okay. Peace out, Girl Scout.